Welcome back to Rolando Estacada. My name is Rolando, and for today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the modern Tanto, how I like to move with it, but more specifically, what several modern Japanese versions that have been used by very big companies in the United States, and how I like to move with them with some of the background that I have, not just in Filipino martial arts, but with the understanding that I have of how the Japanese sword, how Japanese blades were used. Now, mind you, this is a very long and heavy tradition in Japanese blades craft. So the modern versions, although they lend themselves well to several platforms and pedagogies, specifically with any sort of martial blade craft, but specifically Filipino martial arts, which I'm very acclimated in, it is important, in my opinion, to still try to respect, research, and try to understand the origins of the design. I'm going to cover three specific ones that are modern. So number one, I'm going to be taking a look at the cold steel Magnum Tanto 12. And this is a 12-inch blade. I like this blade a lot because if you take a look at the sori, which is that nice curve along the blade, this part is not sharpened at all. This is a curve. The term for it is a sori, S-O-R-I in Japanese. And you will find that it is so ubiquitous in Japanese style blades that you find it on their swords, on the nodachi, on the katana, and also the wakizashi, and of course the tanto. There's a slight curve to it, and what that does, there's many reasons why the curve is there. Clearly, one, to reinforce the spine, also to allow for slashing movements in the practices, but also what it starts to do is that it starts to kind of have it so that the swordsman, or the person wielding the tanto, starts to move with the blade in a way where the entire body goes into it, meaning the curvature is also along the curvature of the body, so that the body actually supports the movement. So in Japanese, the term hara, which is the center, that is where all of the fighting movements come from. So it's not just coming from the wrist, it's not just coming from the shoulder, it's also coming from the entire body. What this sori does, what this curve does, is that it actually lends itself to the curvature of the body, so that when you turn with the body, not only are you cutting along that same direction, there is support behind it. Despite what we have seen in a lot of modern iterations of the samurai, specifically with Kurosawa's works, the majority of those movies show that the samurai were fighting mostly in dueling situations, but also in unarmored situations. And a lot of those situations came about during the Edo period. Now, dueling was technically banned. It was something that was considered forbidden during the Edo period. But prior to that, the Sengoku Jidai period, a lot of the samurai, when they fought, really it was in a battlefield. You had, they were armored, and it was in these types of battlefield formations. So the swords that were created were designed so that they were designed for armored warfare. So it wasn't anything from the wrist. Everything was from the entire body, because the design of the armor for the samurai was such that even though it was very flexible, somewhat impenetrable, because a lot of the angles of attack that allowed a practitioner or a samurai on the battlefield, a lot of those angles were not available simply because of the way the armor was set up. In fact, the greaves that they had were so well constructed that a lot of times they could deflect, they could block a sword strike from a katana, simply because the design was just so sturdy. So if you were going to use a sword during the Sengoku Jidai period, you have to consider the use of that sword against someone who was, one, similarly skilled. Also, similarly equipped in terms of the sword, but also you're up against armor. So you couldn't just kind of snap cut. You couldn't just kind of back cut into it because the armor was just going to absorb it. The way that curvature works is so that you could really drive your body into it. And they use that curvature, the sori, depending on the era or also depending on the maker and the preference of the samurai. That curvature really lent itself well to a full body core activated sword movement. And this design was also applied to the Tanto. And you can see this here. When you feel it and when you hold it, it really lends itself well more. It starts to drive its momentum when you drive your body into it. So this is the Cold Steel Magnum 12. And when I practice with this, I keep that in mind, that I'm not just moving, slashing, cutting, those types of movements in a way that the Tanto is away from me, that it was somehow separate from me. It is close to me. Master at Arms James Keating, the man who popularized the modern Bowie knife combatives along with the late Bill Bagwell, said in one of his videos, it's something that stayed with me for a very long time. He said that the European traditions of blade work had it so that the sword tended to go away. So a lot of the sword movements tended to go away from the body, and a lot of the Asian blade work tended to bring the knife towards the body. So we can see that, for example, in this movement with, let's say, a gunting, right, which is from Filipino martial arts. The knife tended to come towards the midline and then come back in. And it's very different, of course, with European bladecraft where the sword or the blade tended to go out. And we can see with this type of dichotomy in terms of the use of the blade, we can see that the Asian tradition is very much with the Tanto in that the design allowed it so that you could bring the blade in or bring the blade in so that when you were using the blade, it was with the blade in and with the full support of the body. And I like practicing with this because it really brings that reminder to the forefront. This is the CRKT HZ6. HZ stands for Hirazukuri, and this was of course designed for CRKT by Sensei James Williams. And of course, he is the founder of Bugay and also Williams Blades Design. And this one, really fantastic blade. I hope this is something that you can see here and it focuses. But you can see how the handle, those X's here, are very reminiscent of the handles of the Tsukamaki on the katana. And one thing I really love about this is that these grooves and this reminiscent design of the Tsukamaki gives it a really good blade retention, because when I grip it, it really sinks into my skin. When I spoke to Sensei James Williams, he said it was actually designed better so that when you're using gloves, right? But I really like this because it maintains some of that curvature and some of that traditional design, so that some of that Tanto Japanese blade methodology of staying close to the body, keeping the blade close to the body, still remains as part of the design. So you can't just flip it around. It is truer to design if you start to understand how the Japanese approach to blade craft is. The last one, and another one of my favorites, this was designed by Lynn Thompson, none other than this is a folding version of a Japanese design. This is the Cold Steel Frenzy, and it is supposedly and inspired by what is called the Kabuto Wari. The Kabuto Wari is called the Kabuto is the helmet of the samurai. This was considered the helmet splitter. Supposedly the use was that once they were in long range and they were engaging in battle, there would be spears, there would be bow and arrow, and so that was in a longer distance. But as they got closer and closer to each other as the battle progressed, they started using closer weapons like the longer sword, the nodachi or the odachi, and then ultimately to the katana. But even in modern reenactments, what we find is that once they got close with the katana, and there are some forms that show this in some traditional styles, that once they got in with the katana, they would block with the katana and then they would pull out whether the tanto or the kabutowari, and they would simply finish it. So they would finish the engagement and then move on to the next opponent. I really like this particular blade, although it is different in design as far as the Tanto is concerned. I like the slim profile, but I also like how the design and the weight of the blade is relatively neutral. So although it can work, let's say for example in a Filipino combination like Sayok 3 of 9, so I come in this way, it's really nice for that. But I still, when I move with it, I still stay very close to the Japanese methodologies of staying very core-centric, staying very close, and not extending past a certain distance, so that all of a sudden I'm in an arm-centric position. Without further ado, I would love to show you how I move with them, my own interpretation of it, and I hope it's something that you enjoy, me demonstrating my interpretation of how I would like to use these three modern Japanese-inspired blades, the Cold Steel Magnum Tanto 12, the CRKT HZ6, and the Cold Steel Frenzy. Stick around, stay tuned. Thank you. First, we're going to be moving around with the Cold Steel Magnum Tanto 12, and seeing me here move around with the Tanto in its Kydex sheath. It's a 12-inch blade, but I promise you, it doesn't move like a big knife at all. So as much as I'd like to move around with it with some flourishes that are coming from the wrist, it doesn't move in a way that's familiar, that makes flourishing in any way natural. So the edge is on this side, and that slight sori, that curve, is on this side, and it's not sharpened. So I can actually put my palm on the blade and actually do assisted cuts, which is what the Tanto was designed for, wherein that assisted cut comes not just from the backhand, but with the way it was designed, you can actually use your entire body for it. So when I try to do these slashes where there's a little bit of a break in the wrist, as you can see, it's actually more efficient and effective when it is supported by my entire torso. So note that my arm stays close to the body. That way my lats, my glutes, my entire core supports these types of push cuts. So I'm not really cutting my gi here, don't worry about that. But note that when I am moving forward and slashing across, it is supported by my entire torso. So it allows me then to use both my right and my left hand to make any sort of offensive movements. When I'm doing these twirls here with my wrist, it doesn't feel natural at all because it is practically weightless the way it's designed when I start to move with it. But if I move from my hips and my core and my legs, then it starts to behave a little bit more like a sword. And I think that the Tanto design, since it is very similar to the way the wakizashi and the katana, which are swords, were modeled after, it only makes sense that the biomechanics behind a Tanto is very similar to the biomechanics that is applied when you are practicing and moving with a Japanese sword like the katana and like the wakizashi. So note that my movements here are coming from the hips and the waist, and that makes it not only extra supported with my torso, but it allows it so that when I come in with the movement, the follow-ups are coming from my hip and completely supported. Now I'm going to move on to the CRKT HZ6. It is a smaller blade. Instead of it being 12 inches, it is now 6 inches in length. And what's interesting about it is that it actually allows for some of the FMA movements where it can start to be a little faster, but it still requires that kind of support that is coming from my torso to move from heaven grip to earth grip, and then to even switch hands, because it is a much shorter blade, not only in the handle, but also in the blade itself. So this hand switching allows for more of the FMA methodology to come in, and having that supported with the torso, which comes from Japanese sword arts, it makes for a very interesting hybrid kind of knife methodology, because I can do the Filipino hand switching, but then I can support it with my torso. So as a movement practice, it makes for some very interesting thought processes in terms of, well, when do I switch hands? From my right hand to my left hand. See here, I can now switch to my left to a funnel grip, but back to my right with an earth grip, and then power assist with my left forearm. These are things that I can start to think of when I'm moving with a smaller Tanto. Now moving on to the Cold Steel Frenzy, a folding kabutowari. Now I can see myself moving not only with the Tanto methodology, but even more with some of the Filipino martial arts methodology because it's that much lighter. So you can see how I can do some dagdag bawas, where I can change some of the gripping from natural grip, earth grip, and then funnel grip, and I can get really close here. But then you can start to see me move with some flourishes. Here I'm going to experiment a little bit with some Filipino knife movements where I can fake and I can feint. And here you might see me even try to do some 3 of 9 from the CRKT templates, the right and left 3 of 9 template. This is a really smooth and fast folding knife, and I really love the Cold Steel Frenzy because it's my favorite knife to do the CRKT 3 of 9 template with. A lot of that speed is through years and years of reps, but I tell you, doing it with the Cold Steel Frenzy makes for really great movement practice because it's just so light in the hand and it has this great ambidexterity to it. So as much as it is a Japanese-inspired design, it's something that I like to use in my Filipino CRKT 3 of 9 template. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around, stay tuned, more videos to come.